the most original talk radio station anywhere. We are LA Talk Radio at latalkradio.com.
You're listening to Question Reality. Question Reality with Priscilla Leona. Priscilla Leona. Only on LA Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome to Question Reality. I'm your host, Priscilla Leona, and we are coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. Our show is broadcast every Sunday from 5 p.m. to 5:50 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, if this is your first time tuning in, our show will help you to question your career reality. This show is for you if you were, are, or might be considering a career in the entertainment industry. Our guests will provide you with tips, advice, and resource information on how and what it takes to successfully pursue a career in show business. Our guests work in various professions of entertainment, so that means that we will definitely have someone on the show sooner or later from a career that you are interested. You just have to tune in every week or go to our archive page. Speaking of which, if you want to check out our past guests, read their bios, listen to their interviews instantly, or download one of the shows, you want to go to the LA Talk Radio website, and that's latalkradio.com. And if you're listening to us live, you're on the website. Just go to the top and click on the link that says Channel 1, scroll down, and look for the graphic of our show, Question Reality. Click the link, and this takes you directly to our archive page, and you can view the list of all of our past guests. Now, our shows are also available for download on iTunes under the podcast section. You just type in Question Reality Radio in the search box, and there we are. And if you want to find out about our future guests, we have all of them listed. We are booked until, I think, the end of August now. Not sure. Yeah, I think so. And that will be the official Question Reality website, and that is questionrealityshow.com. questionrealityshow.com. Now, pick up your pen and paper or open your little notepad, because we have some wonderful classes for you to check out this week. But first, I want to tell you that we are having a guest, Benjamin Lutz. Yay! You want to talk about hot, woo, sexy, woo, and extremely talented. You want to talk Benjamin Lutz. Now, when Mark Bessinger was on my show, he said, I have a wonderful actor that's in one of my upcoming films, and he told me a little bit about Benjamin, and I said, well, he sounds fantastic. But I had not seen this little hottie hunka palula love. And then when I looked him up on Facebook, I said, hey, Jesus Christ, we need to get him over and sit him right on my lap. But unfortunately, I can't go to the radio station today, and I'm doing a remote show, so I can't get to physically fondle him and get some free touches like I usually do from the hot guests. Albert's always there. He's right across, so not doing anything sneaky. But I just want to let you know how hot he is. And if you want to check him out personally, go to facebook.com and type in look at me. I want to touch him. I got touching on the brain. Type in Benjamin Lutz, actor. Benjamin, BenjaminLutz, ACTOR. He is also on IMDb.com under Benjamin Lutz. He's also on Twitter under Benji, Benji Lutz. And there you go. So you check him out while we go and get these great classes, tell you all about these great classes coming up. So the following classes are from trulyacting.com, trulyacting.com. So let's see, Mondays starting at 7:30. It's a 6-week class, and it starts April 16th. Again, Mondays at 7:30, 6 week class starts April 16th, and it is a commercial casting director class from Chris Game. He's a commercial casting director, and he's cast a number of national campaigns for Harley Davidson, Swiffer, Shell, Burger King, Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler, Wells Fargo, Beck's, Oscar Mayer, Kellogg's, oh my God, PlayStation, Pepsi, Taco Bell, Sears, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, just blah it out. Blah it out. There's so many blah, blah, blahs. There's just too many to go into. Now, his independent film projects include The Good Humor Man, starring Kelsey Grammer, Jason Segel, and Jorge Garcia, and The Uninvited, featuring Colin Hay. And he also just finished casting his third feature film, Donner Pass. And Chris is also the co-founder and current member of the Elephant Theater Company. So you might want to check out this class if you're interested in doing commercials. It is only $325, so $325. So you divide that by 6 weeks, and it's practically nothing. And you can pay by PayPal, too. There you go. It's great about truly acting. So, again, that's Monday starting at 7:30. 6-week class starts April 16th. So you might want to go get on that because it's tomorrow. Okay. Now, Fridays starting at 7:30 on April 13th. Oh, I guess that passed. Oh, that's kind of over. Well, you might want to ask for a discount. The next class is on April 20th, April 27th, May 4th, and that's $225. And that's a voiceover class with Sherilyn Carter, and she's a producer and a casting director, and she starts from the basics on teaching you how to learn about auditions, what to expect from a voiceover session. And this course will cover how you know your audience, developing characters, and using your acting skills to perfect your voiceover work. And Sherilyn has produced and cast at least 100, or actually hundreds, of television commercials, like including the Super Bowl ads, radio, interactive spots at TBWA, which is Chiat Day, advertising agency in Los Angeles, for almost 14 years before she branched out with her own company, Precision Talent, which she produces audio, coaches, voiceover talent, and cast commercial projects. So if you want to get involved in voiceover work, which is very lucrative, and I highly recommend it, that is where you want to go. So again, Friday starting at 7:30, $225. So the last one we want to tell you about, if you are interested in becoming a soap opera actor, as we were just talking, if you got the soap opera look like Benjamin Lutz does, I want to find out if he actually did any soap opera, because he just looks like he could be the doctor, be the lawyer, be the lover. He's got the soap opera look. So we got a class starting Thursdays, April 26th, starting at 7:30. Actually, it's April 26th, May 3rd, May 10th, May 17th, $225. Divide that up. Again, it's not that much. And that is soap opera technique with head casting director Christy Dooley from The Bold and the Beautiful. And Christy, in 1987, an opening came up for a new daytime drama about to launch on CBS, and Christy jumped at the chance to get involved. She started working with The Bold and Beautiful when the show was still in pre-production, and she just celebrated her 24th year as their casting director. And over the years, Christy's given hundreds of actors their start, including giving Eva Longoria her first speaking role. She also enjoyed casting actors like Patrick Duffy, Michael Clark Duncan, Allie Mills, Antonio Sabato Jr., Charlton Heston, Morgan Fairchild, Maria Lopez, and the great, one of my favorite actresses of all time, Betty White. So there you go. Soap opera, voiceover, commercial. We got it all covered today. On tax day, which I wanted to remind everyone, if you haven't filed your taxes, please do so today, or the man will come to collect you. All right, without further ado, let's talk to the hot, the sexy, that's a good one, a sexy guy, Benjamin Lutz. Are you there, hot, sexy Benjamin Lutz?
I am here, and I don't know how sexy I'm feeling right now, but
what did I catch you in your underwear? The unshaven in your underwear? I mean, how unsexy sexy can you look? Come on now.
Oh. And we can't be in the same place right now, and so we'll have to make it work online.
Well, I'm just going to have to tell you that you might have to grab some oil and give our listeners some little updates on what we're looking at here while you oil yourself down, while you're talking.
I can give updates. You're already embarrassing me.
Well, I'm sorry Mark didn't warn you how I was. That's how I am. Any hot man comes on the show, they're going to get it. They're going to get it because they deserve it.
Funny enough, I have been pre-warned.
Now that's sad. Oh, God, I got to change my ways. All right, here we go. All right, now we start the show. Now, we know that you are a native Texan, but now you reside in California where you're pursuing a career as an actor. And I know that my last bit of information from you, I think it was you or Mark, currently you can be seen in the heartwarming comedy film The Love Patient and Bite Marks, which is a genre-bending horror comedy. Is that still the case?
Exactly, yeah. They both, I think in February around that time, both came out and are available. So, yeah, both would be wonderful. Of course, you can say like the regular Amazon, iTunes type things, so I would definitely check them out.
Well, now tell us about each one of the films. We're going to ask you about that in a couple minutes, but we want to know a little bit about you. Now, when little Benjamin Lutz was running around looking hot as a child, breaking the hearts of everyone, what did you see yourself doing? Did you always see yourself as being an actor, or did you envision yourself doing something else? What did you want to do as a child?
As a child, I really was almost always into theater. I was way more into like the musical side, so I did that. But I want to stop and say I definitely had some, shall we call like, ugly duckling moments at the web. So I definitely went through a really, really weird phase as a young. I'm sending you pictures.
Okay.
I have proof in every single yearbook, but at that same time, I found solace a lot of the times through like musical theater and a lot of really, really crazy. So I've always been so completely drawn to it, whether or not I knew it was going to be my livelihood. I don't know, but you can't run away from who you really are. That's probably the best advice anyone can give you. And so if you're thinking about anything else like that, you got to just go with your gut. And so back then I was kind of a musical theater dork, and right now I'm kind of a film and theater dork. It's kind of almost the exact same thing. I did go to college for like directing and writing, so I didn't know I'd be completely acting at this time, but it's kind of all the same thing when you think about it. It's just created in different ways.
Right. Now, are you a full-time working actor, or do you have other jobs that supplement your income?
That is definitely the reality of Los Angeles. I have an exorbitant amount of jobs. Of course, like when you're booked and you are a full-time actor and making a lot of money doing that, and then when you're not doing that, you quickly learn that you need to have multiple different jobs at a time when you're auditioning and looking for different work. So you name it. I cast things for other projects. I am a bartender for a lot of other things. I've written for like small magazine blogs, which obviously doesn't pay all that much either. But you quickly learn that you need a lot of different jobs when you're not acting full time, because it's not very cheap out here.
That is for sure. You know, when I was trying to decide whether to go to New York or come to L.A., that's one of the things that I factored in. And I thought at the time, oh, my God, it's so much more expensive to move to New York than here, which I still think it honestly is. But yeah, that's one of the things that you have to consider. You really have to do, for people who are thinking of coming to LA, I just want to have you chime in on that too, Benjamin. You really have to do your research. I cannot emphasize that. You have to think about how much the cheapest apartment is, and very importantly, where you're going to be living, because you can't be living somewhere where you got to sleep with a Colt 45 underneath your pillow every night. And those, unfortunately, are the areas which are a little bit more cheap or inexpensive. So you got to think about what area you're moving in and how far it is from the hub of where most of the auditions are in California. And you've got to find out how much money you're going to need for rent. You got to think about what skills you have or what skills you can gain before you come here. Because when you get here, and again, I've never been a bartender, but I imagine, and you can answer that, you do say you want to get a job, which is one of the things you do when you come out here. You can work as a bartender, a waitress, which is a typical job. But I think you have to have skills, right? For most of the places you go, they want you to have some skills. Or what about that, Benjamin? Can you just walk in and just get a job without having any skills?
Well, every story is going to be completely different. Of course, it's so nice to hear someone talk about the reality of you need to really, really plan out and just don't come with stars in your eyes. But it's all at the end moment of making yourself happy, to where it's nice that people are giving you exactly what the reality of is coming here. But at the same time, I remember a lot of times having a lot of friends saying don't come, it's not cool, and almost kind of putting a dismal spin on it for me. But you just have to weigh options of what is going to make you the most happy. If you're going to stay in a specific place because it's a little easier, but be miserable about it, you have to go with your gut, to where coming out here sometimes could make you miserable because it's taking you away from certain things you want. But it's so nice to hear you say, sometimes the reality of, you really need to kind of prepare yourself to work a little more than you thought. Or what's so funny about when you come out here is, some of the most coveted jobs are not so great, jobs like bartending or weekend jobs or things, because those are the ones that need you at nighttime or certain times that you want to keep open and audition and do short films. So one thing you don't think about is sometimes waitressing or bartending is sometimes the hardest jobs to get out here, where other places it actually is the easiest job to get, because it's normally not, the service industry is not the best thing to do. But when you come out here, it's weird that it's almost like going on a cattle call every single time to become a bartender out here. So it's nice to know what you're getting yourself into, but at the same time, it's nice to prepare yourself. But if you need to come out here and have fun and do this, you have to come and do it. You can't not do it because it sounds hard. I can tell you from someone that's come out here, it's worth every second of happiness you get.
That's right. Now, I like to offer people alternative options with getting employment rather than the bartender waitress. What are some other jobs that you've come across out here that people could do to supplement their income? One that I can think of that my friends do are nannies, being nannies. What are some other jobs?
Mm-hmm. God, the sky's the limit. Nowadays, obviously, the world is changing so much in terms of what type of work people are doing. So I would, just off the top of my head, think that a lot of different special skills in the computer field or any kind of new coming fields that you can kind of make your own hours could possibly be something really, really great to look into. You're kind of throwing me a curveball. I fell into a lot of the normal stuff.
I'm actually probably helping you too, because you're thinking, wow, I wonder if there's any other jobs I can do besides bartending. I've heard people, they're dog walkers. There's a lot of people in Beverly Hills who need their dogs walked. There's nannies. There's a lot of companies out here that do part-time research. They do market research where they have you calling people and asking questions about various products. There's actually a lot of focus groups out here where you can get jobs giving opinions about products. There's so many off-the-wall kind of jobs that you wouldn't think of that you can get out here part-time. Of course, sales, a huge job out here that a lot of good-looking actors get, male actors, actually some females too I've run across, believe it or not, are part-time car sales. Their jobs are very flexible. I didn't think of that, but I came across someone who actually sold cars part-time, and it was very lucrative because they were the soap opera looking person, and they do tend to have the customers gravitate, I would imagine, more to them, and they were doing quite well. So don't just think when you come out here that you have to be a bartender or a waitress. You really can get any job that's part-time. And what's great about here is that people know, if you're honest, don't try to hide and say that you're not an actor, because then you're going to get into a situation where you can't get off when you need to. You really need to get a job that's flexible. And a lot of people go to employment agencies like Apple. There's so many I can't think of all of them now. But a regular employment agency that employs regular folks looking for jobs as administrative assistant. They hire a lot for the studios like Disney and Pixar, et cetera, and they know that you need a flexible schedule. So go to an employment agency and tell them you're an actor, and they have lots of jobs there too. Lots of friends out here work for Disney, Pixar, and it's DreamWorks. It's completely cool. So think outside the box. You don't have to just do bartending and waitressing. A lot of people like Benjamin. I imagine you modeled at some point, but you can model all different types. There's hand models. They have people who hand model out here. Butt model. You can be a stunt double, extra work, anything. It's only limited by your imagination.
Yeah. Well, I like that you talk about looking outside of the box, because when you come out, I assume that your listeners are people coming out because they're thinking about the entertainment industry. You're probably really turned on by a lot of different aspects of it, too, to where it doesn't really have to be kind of what you think where your career is going to go or things when you come out here. A lot of times it's just seep yourself into what makes you happy, and you never know if that's going to put yourself into another field, or at the same time learning how to edit things, because you'll become a better actor after that. So I love that you talk about looking outside of the box in terms of the entertainment industry, because really sometimes it's really hard to come out here and then taking a completely different job from what your passion is, what your soul is telling you to do, as long as you can get something a little bit closer. Otherwise, it's going to either help you in what your end goal is, or maybe even change your end goal a little bit.
That is so true. I can't tell you how many people came out here thinking they wanted to be an actor, and they ended up working as a production assistant and decided, oh my God, I want to be a producer, or I want to be a director, or I want to be an editor, and they completely changed, because it happens a lot. You should do as many jobs as possible, because you don't know when it's going to click. Right? It's going to click.
Or how the click will change in your brain, too.
Right.
I've always been very open to how I change through every single year.
Absolutely.
And what actually is going to make me happy.
And one of the benefits when you come out here, I think the best thing you do is become a production assistant. I mean, you are going to have to work your ass off, because they will run you like you've never been run. You cannot have a big ego to do production assistant work. It's for the humble, but you will learn so much, and the people that you meet will become invaluable if you do decide to pursue a career as a producer or a director. These are people that you need. You got to think of it in terms of building your network. Everybody you meet is a connection. When you go on an audition, that casting assistant or that receptionist, you never know. 9 out of 10 times they end up becoming a casting director. So always be nice to everyone. Let's talk about that, Benjamin, how proper etiquette is so important. You cannot come out here and think, where you are, you might be the big fish in the small pond, but when you come out here, you're the small fish in the big pond. And etiquette is so important. Let's talk about that. On the set, etiquette.
Well, etiquette is not even just on the set, everywhere in LA. The biggest thing that you can weed out is someone with an ego. To where you talked about you lose your ego when you become a production assistant, but you lose your ego when you become an actor. It's the first thing that we're good at.
You should. However, you don't always. I have seen some crazy ass actors who actually think they know more than the producer and director and have the audacity to tell them so on set or critique what the director is telling them, and they have maybe 1 or 2 credits on IMDb. It happens for sure, and you cannot do that.
I honestly haven't seen much of that.
I don't know what you did. Ooh, let me tell you. Oh my gosh, it is. Let me just tell you. You know who you are, people. Actually, you know what?
No, they don't know who they are. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm sure they've been told by someone in their life. They just have selective thinking about what they're going to do the next time, and the thing is they don't think. But yes, I have come across many productions that I've worked on where the actor will actually, and I know one in particular when I was doing an episode of Boston Public, and this was Mark, what is his name? Oh God, the director from NCIS. He's the actor on there, Mark Harmon. And I was doing a scene with someone, and this actor, who I was like, who the hell are you? And he was trying to tell Mark Harmon how he thought he should stand. And then saying, well, I don't know if I really feel that the character would say that. I was like, oh, no, you did not. And so it definitely happens. And this was a guy who probably just moved up from being a background actor, and this was his first speaking part because he only had 1 word, and yet he felt perfectly happy critiquing Mark Harmon's direction. So it definitely happens a lot out here, and that's something you cannot do. Etiquette.
Well, I think with this anecdote you just talked about, it's you need to be open to everything when you're working on a film set. So whether or not you are Mark Harmon or a nobody actor, sometimes you almost you can't come in with an ego and think that you know everything, because working on a set, you actually realize that everyone has a good idea to it. So you can never ever come in thinking that you know everything, because you really, really don't.
You do not. You just have to really, if you are not a humble person and you know that you're not, you better act like you're humble. Then you better be the best actor ever and act like it, because you cannot do that. People do not. You'll get blacklisted. You really will. They will not.
Well, I have not met these people. You seem to be really picking up a lot of people I have not met.
What the hell? You've been working with the nice crowd. Who are you?
I obviously have been leading a very, very charmed existence. I don't have these horror stories that you're talking about.
They really do. I mean, you hear about it all the time. It is quite an education, because you find that it happens on set, and then when the actor goes away to go to the craft cart, then all the other actors, what are they doing? They're all swarming. Can you believe he said that? I don't know who he thinks he is. And then there's the whole gossip thing. So yes, there's a lot of ego out here, and it comes from everywhere. Whether come from London, whether you come from Germany, you come out here and there are actors that are pompous and arrogant. I mean, of course, you got to have a degree of pomposity and arrogance, I think, within you to be an actor, because there are certain roles you have to play. So, but you just have to tone it down, and you got to really be a little bit more humble. So I would say definitely learn humility for sure. Now, what do you think are the first 5 things that you should do when you arrive in Los Angeles to get yourself established personally and professionally pursuing an acting career?
Well, I guess number 1 is going to be very similar to what we were talking about. It's like being open to anything the world can put your way. Like, never just say, no, can't do that, or things like that, because you really never know what your path is going to be or how it's going. So, I mean, the first thing would be take away all the ideas of what you think this place will be, because it is a different place with every single city you move to. So just being very, very open to anything that would come your way would be number 1. I guess number 2 is the first thing people are going to ask you is for your headshot. So get something headshot-wise that you are very, very proud of, that you're getting good feedback with, and also I guess number 3, people are going to be kind of ruthless about asking for your credits, and that doesn't necessarily sometimes mean theatrical things you've done in different cities, and there's nothing mean about that. It's just that people want to know that you're good on film, to where it's so nice to hear that someone has done Macbeth in a different city, and so they really, really know what they're doing, but at the same time, sometimes it doesn't translate as well. So people are going to be kind of ruthless about asking about what film things you've done. And so the answer to that would be start submitting yourself to get any kind of film credit or work that you can tell them. So in essence, self-submit yourself on a lot of different websites. Some of the most popular ones would be like LA Casting, which is a part of the casting networks. I'm sure we'll come back to that, but lacasting.com is a really good one. It's kind of like just a bulletin board of all the different possible projects. Another thing is Actors Access. Again, these are just websites that you're looking at what people are looking for, because people are going to be asking certain film work that you've been doing. And people don't care if it's a student film, if it's something that you went out and shot by yourself or something. They just kind of want to see how you react on camera. And it's not rude. It's just one of those like, hey, you look really great. I'd love to see some of your stuff. And it's one thing just giving them a piece of paper saying all the things you've done, and another thing of showing them pictures of like, this is what I look like, or showing them different parts of like different snippets of this is how I act on camera. This is some of the things I've done. And so that's really helpful. I guess we're on number 3 right now. That's hard. So number 4, okay. On the countdown of things you need to know when you get out here is be very, very open if you're lucky enough to get on set. Listen to how every single thing works, because again, something you've presupposed about how it's going to work is sometimes going to be so very different. I went to theater school. I went to so many different schooling of how you're supposed to act, and really 90% of what I've learned about how to act is seeing how the grip works, seeing what's on the director's mind and what he's looking for, seeing seeing the sound technician. Like if you like look and see about what they're looking for from actors, it kind of tells you how everyone's trying to come together and create a story. And when you see how what is on everyone else's mind, it's going to really, really help you see how you can deliver what they're looking for. So I guess the number 4 is kind of a whirlwind of just being really, really open to everyone else's job when you're on the set, because trust me, some of those things you just can't teach, because it's every other, when you're looking at everyone's perspective of how they're trying to tell the story, you're going to do a lot better at giving them what you need to give. And God, number 5 on the whirlwind trip of what someone needs to know when they come to LA, I guess, is
it's a hard one.
more of the networking, marketing, being cool to anyone, like not saying no to the fact that your mother knows her best friend who used to produce this.
That's right.
Not knowing that sometimes the person at Starbucks who stops you is might help you in it. And it's not one of those, like, be nice to everyone because they could be the next person that could make you become a star. It's not as negative as that. It's more of just like being open. Everyone has their own path and story, and everyone is going to help you in a weird way. So just really, really seeping yourself in everyone around here, because really a lot of those, story-wise, from me, has gotten me the better jobs of, like, my best friend said that, oh, they're looking to cast this. It's not on anything else, and that actually turned into something for me. So just listening to everything around, because this business is constantly changing. No one knows what they're doing. Seriously, everyone's just trying to figure it out. So if you just kind of listen to how other people are working it and maybe looking outside of the box, questioning the reality of what you think you need to do to get parts, and changing along with everyone else, that's going to really, really help you start to gain work. And seriously, like, you can't listen to, like, what everyone says, you have to do this to get work. It's not like becoming a doctor where they give you the beginning, middle, end of how to get your degree to start practicing medicine. It's more of just being open to learning from everyone else, because it's constantly changing. There is no definitive answer of this is how you book a job. This is how you win an Oscar. This is how you become happy and have a fruitful life. It's all going to be completely different. So just being open and listening is number 5.
There you go. You got through that. Oh, my gosh. Maybe I'll narrow it down to 3 and not torture people so much, huh?
Or not torture your listeners, mind you.
Not torture my listeners. Well, I would imagine you giving advice that's actually not torture. They're writing it down, and they're just so excited about it, hopefully. Now, every job that you do requires certain characteristic traits, right? So, for example, if you are a mortician and you secretly want to become a car salesman, it might be a really big leap for you. And then maybe not, because maybe there's a hidden personality that you have being a mortician. But I always feel there are certain characteristic traits that you need to become what you want to become. You definitely need to be, example, if you're a car salesman, you need to be outgoing and friendly and high energy, et cetera, et cetera. What do you feel are some of the characteristic traits that you need to become a successful actor?
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out the question. So
what character, for example, I feel that in order to become a successful actor, you need to have humility, you have to have patience, you have to be a good listener, you have to be flexible. And what do you feel that makes a really good actor? Like, for example, when I met Johnny Depp, one of the things I noticed about him was he had just amazing eye contact. He did not take his eyes off of you. When you are talking to him, he looks you directly in the eye. He focuses on everything that you say, and then he answers. And I noticed the same thing when I met Keanu Reeves. So that's something I notice about the A-list actors that I've met. They really have amazing focus and they tune in. So I would say that definitely that is one of the characteristic traits that separate the A-list actors from, say, actors starting out, which may not have that focus, because I notice that there are some actors you run into. I don't know if you share this, but I've run into some actors when you're talking to them, their eyes are darting all over. If you're at a party, their eyes are darting all over to see who's the next best thing, and they can't focus on what you're saying, and then they have like short answers, and they really don't have amazing amounts of focus. So I would say that focus is one of the characteristic traits, that it takes a certain amount of focus. Like if you have ADD, you need to get yourself some Ritalin. But what do you feel are some of the characteristic traits that it takes?
I think 100% is getting rid of the demons that say like what you want to be. In essence, like when you stop and want to become an actor, you can't say, I want to have the eye contact of Johnny Depp, or I want I want to live exactly a Kiefer Sutherland thing, where like everyone is a good actor. Trust me. Everyone has a different person, a different aspect of who they are going to be. So someone with ADD is actually sometimes going to be a better actor than someone who doesn't, because they're bringing their own self into it. What's separating the A-list from the B-list, or I don't even like saying that, what's separating like someone that's going to really, really get you enticed into what's happening from someone who's not getting enticed is someone who's actually like thinking about how they can entice. So like sometimes, for me at least, whenever I go into an audition or a circumstance, normally when I really suck, when things are not really working for me, it normally has to do with me telling myself like, I'm not this, what's going on, or why is it not working? Why do I suck? Why do I have a demon like telling me that I can't do this, that I'm not great? Sometimes when you just like let everything go and like you stop and say, okay, right now I am playing a crack addicted pigeon on a street post. You just have to tell yourself, I am a crack addicted pigeon on a street post. This is the reality. This is acting. And it's sometimes more simple, like getting out of your way. Like so many times the thing that's in your way of becoming someone, a good actor, is doubting yourself in a way, to like, and not really looking at the way someone else is. Like so many people that I wish I could become, like sometimes I'm just not going to become, because you have to use yourself. And so many times when you go out on an audition, you just have to say, like, I am this. And almost like try to do a really, really cheesy actor thing, like talk about yourself as this character. You're not Benjamin who's trying to become this character, because you're going to put yourself into the hurdle of you are not this person. Just kind of simply saying, I am this, and it's really simple. What do you think about it? Sometimes when you go to acting school, so many times it's infuriating, because all they want to do is like get you back to when you were a 3-year-old, when you didn't have all of these like things on your shoulders saying you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're too fat, you're too, your eyes are too hideous, you're thinking about it way too much, when sometimes really you just go for it. So many times you have to actually notice that it's all in you. You just have to get rid of that negative voice. And so, like, and so many times, like when you meet that magical person like Johnny Depp, you realize, like, when you look at Johnny Depp, like he doesn't seem to have any fears. You might see him do something outrageous, one of those like, I can't believe he's doing that, and you look into his eyes and you notice, like, dude, he's just going for it. He's not stopping. He's not questioning whether or not he can do this accent or do that. He just, like, you're looking for someone who puts themselves completely into it, and sometimes that just means like not questioning whether or not you are that person. Like, and that's in essence the hardest thing to do. But it almost makes it open and nice to where like everyone has it in themselves. Like, if you can get rid of that, you're going to actually find that part that they're looking for you, exactly you, and you just have to get rid of this person telling you that you aren't this person, because that's really what acting is.
Now, I get a lot of emails from people who live in small rural towns and they want to become actors, and I get so many tales of woe in that their parents absolutely discourage them and basically threaten them in any possible way they can to discourage the whole acting scene. Now, if you don't have support to become an actor from your family and friends, what can you do or where can you go to draw strength to make the decision of a career change or to make a decision to pursue the career?
Well,
what do you think?
Well, that goes, like, that's true for everything when you think about it. Like, when you don't have support, anything, we're not even just talking about acting. Like, you have to be the strongest person to follow what you want to do. So, gosh, this question's so intense for me to actually think about. But in terms of acting, you can find strength is, I would say, going out and doing any kind of acting. Like, so many people think about the essence of acting is to win that award because that's when you know you're good, when really it has nothing to do with that. If you want to go into acting, I say put on any kind of play you want in your own town if you are in a smaller town, and seeing what that does for you and how it creates. Some of the things that have made me feel more like an actor and more like I have place in my existence have been some of the smallest places where 5 people are watching me do this one monologue. Sometimes if you tap into that, that's when you actually feel like a real actor, not necessarily when you're trying to work your way up. So if you're working with adversity or someone who's telling you that you can't do it, like whether or not it be family or teachers or anyone around you, the strongest thing you can do is just to do it at the smallest point you can and seeing where you can get happy. That's so hard. I think some of my best, like, most attuned to acting things are me, like, singing in my shower, where you're washing your hair and all of a sudden you don't realize something's coming over you. You start crying because of something that's happening to you. And that's sometimes a better actor than any times that when you're trying to do it for something else. So if you are in a bad place where people are telling you can't do it, the only thing is you can do it for yourself. That's, absolutely. I guess, an answer to that. That's hard. So we're like, I mean, being an actor is actually just doing it for yourself sometimes, and so it might be nice when you've gotten into that place that someone else might watch it and like it, and then a couple more people might watch it and like it. So it's kind of a hard question for me to ask because I've always had such a good support system. It's been a curse and a blessing to have grown up with like parents who showed me Sesame Street and told me that you can do anything. And so
your parents sent you off to LA with a dream and some Texas ribs and some barbecue sauce, because there's no sauce better than Texas barbecue sauce for your ribs. So they sent you off with a dream and some ribs, right, from Texas?
They sent me off with more. They sent me off with blessings and nuts. That's another thing you get in Texas, young lady.
Yeah, the Texas dream. Oh, yeah. Some of my best friends are from Texas, and I get Texas barbecue sauce every time they go home. So I'm very, very happy. Well, we're almost coming to an end. I want to talk real quick about your 2 movies, The Love Patient, which is this madcap comedy directed by Michael Simon. And I understand that your character, Paul, is this roguish advertising executive, and you come up with this crazy I Love Lucy idea to fake having cancer in order to win back your ex. So tell me about that, because that sounds really interesting, and I want to watch it just from the description. Tell us about it.
I love the way you talk about it, because so many times when you talk about this movie, it sounds kind of heavy or at least demented. It's this person who's so crazy enough to think that you can fake yourself into love and relationships. So a lot of times you look at it and think it's going to be kind of a dark comedy, but I love that you say it's kind of a zany I Love Lucy. Like, this person's just crazy enough to think that he can trick himself into love. And there are a lot of really, really crazy hijinks that happen with this lie. It just kind of starts spinning out of control, like anything, like a best friend's wedding or any kind of I Love Lucy-esque zaniness. So it's one of those, surprisingly, has a lot of heart. And at the end, maybe a happy ending. Who knows?
Well, there are many different kinds of happy endings, so I'm hoping I see both in that movie. Oh, God, you're on with the sex talk again. Massage therapy? No, we're not talking about it. Okay, so how can we find The Love Patient? Where can we look for that?
Again, it is officially out in release on DVD after a couple of theatrical runs. So I know that one's available on Amazon. I know it's available on like TLA Video. It's being released by TLA. I'm pretty sure it's already on iTunes, and I think it's available on Blockbuster.com right now. But once again, the biggest things you need to know are Amazon and TLA Video.
Okay. And then the last movie is, and we got 1 minute, Bite Marks. It's I understand that's like a vampire horror comedy, and that's directed by my friend Mark Bessinger, the cutest little thing ever. And your character is Brewster, and he plays a truck driver that discovers he's transporting a truck or a truck of coffin-filled vampires. So how exciting is that? What the heck? What happens in that, and where can we buy it?
Yeah.
Or see it?
Well, you got it. It's crazy and gory and sexy and goofy. It's one of those weird ones. You kind of covered everything with it. But again, really, really a fun ride comedy, I would definitely say. With that one, it is actually being released by Breaking Glass and kind of available on almost exactly the same things: Amazon, iTunes, a lot of different places with that. But
you
yeah,
had
once again,
me at sexy. You had me at sexy. That means I'm going to see you with your shirt off. Woo!
Oh, you are so one-track-minded. I can't.
I am. But my God, when you're past 30, you start thinking. That's all you start thinking about, especially when you're a Scorpio. That's all we think about. You know how we have one-track mind. All right, so we can find Benjamin Lutz on IMDb under Benjamin Lutz, L-U-T-Z. We can find Benjamin on Facebook under Benjamin Lutz Actor and Twitter under Benji Lutz. So I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. I thought you gave great answers. I'm sure you've helped so many people today. And when you get yourself blown up onto a poster and you only have a minuscule amount of clothing, can I get a signed poster that says you're hot and happening, Priscilla?
You have to tell me what area I'm signing beforehand.
Hot damn. I'm going to try to get you on one of my upcoming short films because I'm going to have to write something just for you where there's minuscule amount of clothing and maybe some possible heels and a feather duster. Oh, God, I'm going crazy now. All right, I'm going to let you go before
you
my
are
mind.
going crazy. My mother would not be happy with you right now.
I'm sorry.
She wants me to do a happy musical where I keep all of my clothes on. That's the next idea.
All right, well, maybe we could do something Thornbirdish. I can see you dressed. I can do that, too. I can go there and still have fun.
Why are we doing the Thornbirds? That's Okay, you heard it here first, listeners. The start of Thornbirds the musical.
That's right. Thank you so much, Benjamin. Say goodbye to all your fans and your mom, Mrs. Lutz.
Goodbye, fans, and Mother and Priscilla, thank you so much for your time. I had a blast.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week on Question Reality. Bye.
You're listening to Question Reality. Question Reality with Priscilla Leona. Only on LA Talk Radio.